I'm Tara Connor, former Miss USA 2006, or as some people lovingly like to call me, Mess USA. And that was because I was suffering from an untreated substance use disorder during my reign, which almost cost me my crown. Almost 10 and a half years later, I'm a person in long-term recovery, and my life has been forever changed. A few years ago, I partnered up with Transforming Youth Recovery. 5 years ago, Transforming Youth Recovery began giving grants to colleges and universities across the country. Since then, they've given over 120 grants to different college and university campuses to offer recovery support services to over 2.5 million students. Today, we're going to hear some of their stories. Hey guys, I'm Tara Connor, and today I have the privilege of sitting down with Trevor Johnson, who is a senior at UNR. And he's here to tell us a little bit about his experience with the Collegiate Recovery Program. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tara. I'm really looking forward to this.
Cool. So tell me how you got involved in the Collegiate Recovery Program.
So I got involved with Collegiate Recovery because I was a returning student, and I was very involved with the 12-step community, and I had heard there's a 12-step meeting on campus.
Oh, cool.
And so I found out where that meeting was, and I walked in on a Tuesday at noon, went to the meeting, and I really haven't left. Where I went to the meeting is called NRAP.
Okay.
And that's the Collegiate Recovery Community on UNR.
Nice.
And since I walked in that first day, I haven't left at all.
That's amazing. And you went to UNLV before that.
I did.
So what was the difference?
Well, I was much different. When I was in UNLV, I was 18, and I was excited to get away from home.
Sure.
And I didn't go to UNLV to go to college. I went to UNLV to live in Vegas.
Pow!
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that went like you would expect it to go.
Right.
And then at UNR, I've just found like this community of people that really supports me, and they can identify with me, and it's helped me in ways that's really difficult for me to quantify.
So, can I get personal with you for a second?
Get personal with me.
I'll share some things about me so that you feel okay about you. I started using when I was 14. I had my first drink on a cheerleading trip to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and by the end of that year, I was putting morphine up my nose. Pow! So my addiction took off very quickly, and I definitely didn't have any type of support programs or anything. It was Kentucky status. It's a little rough. We're trying to fix it over there, but I knew that it was really a struggle just trying to deal with knowing that something was off with me and that I was separate than my fellows, but I didn't have any other experience with other people like I do now in recovery. So that's why I love working with Transforming Youth Recovery, is because of all of the resources that they give to students so that they have that support. And I want to hear about your stuff.
So similar, I started drinking when I was 14, but I didn't go off the rails like right away. When I was 16, there was like 2 significant traumas in my life.
What happened?
One of them was my parents' divorce, and the other one you don't know me well enough to find out about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll give you one of mine if you give me yours.
Okay, we'll see.
I was molested by my uncle when I was 3 years old.
Okay.
Do you want some more?
No.
What else? I have, in recovery, slept with married men and got pissed off at his wife because she was getting in the way of my relationship with him because that was untreated addiction. Anything else?
No.
Okay, so are we good?
So yeah, I mean, I was sexually assaulted by a doctor.
Damn.
When I was 15, and I discussed it with my mom. And I told a lot of stories, and so she didn't really believe me. Yeah. And then I went to like my natural defense mechanisms, which was like just to make jokes about it.
Right.
And I thought that was normal.
Sure.
And I haven't come to terms with that until really in the last like 6 months.
Yeah.
I know for myself, as a male, I think that sometimes there's like more stigma, and it's different. I don't know more stigma. I don't want to compare because that's not fair to anybody. But it's just like you don't hear about it as often. Right. And I've also found that I've gained a lot of power from being open about it and talking about it. And instead of having this like 1,000-pound monkey on my back, like I just take it out of my pocket and I can show it to people or not, but it's mine and I can decide what to do with it. I didn't like myself, and so I started drinking a lot. And then when I moved out of home, I went to UNLV, and that's when I started using marijuana, like every day.
Right.
And I'd use pain pills when I had them and when they were
Same.
around. And like it'd be that thing where if people like had pills, they're like, I don't even know what this one is. I was like, well, let me try it. I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's like if you see it on a subway, you're like, sure, why not?
But luckily, I never went like super far down the pill
Yeah.
thing, which now I recognize is like something working in my life.
Yeah.
That I didn't understand at that time.
Well, also too, I think that there's that misconception that even I used to tell myself, technically I'm a heroin addict because my drug of choice was opiates. I just never had to put a needle in my arm because it never got to that place, right? So it's amazing how we tell ourselves that, well, I just smoked a lot of pot, or I would just drink too much, or I just took pills here and there, but it's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was I was a pothead and I
Yeah.
was a stoner. But like you can't be addicted to marijuana.
Yeah,
you know?
it's from the earth.
Yeah.
So is tequila.
I knew I was an addict. I know I acted like an addict.
Right.
But like I just felt like my addiction wasn't as valid as other people's.
Sure. I admire anyone that can live truthfully and be honest about their experiences because, I mean, even when we do go to college, we're freshly out of high school, we are away from our parents for the first time, like no one's watching what we're doing, you know? And it's really hard to, I feel like at that time in our lives, we're so afraid of looking bad and we just want to fit in so bad that we have a really hard time telling the truth. So, and that's not even being an addict, that's just being a human being. We're so terrified of looking bad, but I feel like it's so important that if you are in recovery or you are someone who is struggling with substance use disorders, to have that group of people on campus that you can go to and have those heart-to-hearts like we're having right now, right?
Yeah, it's incredible love that comes from like shared pain. Even though we didn't do the same stuff at the same time.
Right.
We can see that in each other, and so to have a large group of people that you can count on, and it doesn't, you know, like I can think of close to 10 or 12 people that if they were in that room, I know I'd be fine.
Right.
And I hadn't found that anywhere else.
What would you tell any student that was coming to college and was kind of scared about the drinking and the using and stuff like that?
I would tell them that drugs and alcohol are a large part of college, but they're not everything.
Right.
And if you're uncomfortable with yourself or if you're uncomfortable with drugs and alcohol, you don't have to do it. Like, there's a really fulfilling, eventful, busy life that is available to anybody, and it doesn't have to center around drugs or alcohol. Like for myself, when I first went to school, Collegiate Recovery wasn't really an option. It's only 3 places.
Right.
And it definitely wasn't where I was. And so there was times when I failed out of UNLV or I failed out of smaller institutions or I'd gotten in trouble, but I just didn't think that recovery was an option.
Right.
I thought that I'd have to give up everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I was the opposite. Like there was so much for me to gain.
Right.
I think that a school that does not offer some sort of collegiate recovery community or program is really shortchanging their students. It's troubling and it's sad.
And as scary as the opioid crisis has been, the silver lining to that is that more people are aware of the disease nature of addiction, and there's less blaming and less finger pointing and more like trying to help. And that's what recovery communities can do, is they can help. Like treatment's just the beginning, but a recovery community,
That's where you grow.
That's where you grow, and that's where you find how you can like be a part of something bigger than yourself and contribute to things that you didn't even know you were capable of.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate all of your honesty, and I'm glad that they have you in the program there, because I know that your story probably helps a lot of people, even if you may feel like it doesn't.
Yeah, I think I'm really lucky like to have the program there, and there's a lot of mentors that I've been able to meet through that in recovery, who I wouldn't have known that if it wasn't in the room. Or like I got to take a trip to Washington D.C. this summer for a national conference.
Yeah.
Just because I'm involved with this small community on campus that does big things.
Yeah. Well, I'm impressed, and I'm grateful to have a cool trudging buddy like you.
Yeah.
And keep doing what you're doing, because you're really helping a lot of people, and thank God for Transforming Youth Recovery for supplying grants to colleges so that our students can have opportunities to maintain their sobriety and thrive, and you're an amazing example of that. So thank you for sitting down with me today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tara. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, and we'll see you guys next time.